is that? This is bad.
Go around. Please, please go around. Dude, you're scaring the hell out of me. I'm going straight.
Fire extinguisher, grab it!
We're here at the starting line of the 2011 Iron Dog.
The Iron Dog is the toughest, longest snow machine race in the world. We go 2,000 miles across the Alaska wilderness.
3, 2, 1.
It's the ultimate test for the world's best snowmobilers. A grueling 7-day journey through deep snow and wind chills down to 40 below. The winners are on the ground, but the heroes are in the air. The top teams have flying pit crews ready to provide support and save lives if necessary.
Where those guys are out in western Alaska, they're out in the middle of nowhere. There's no help. There's no hospitals, there's no stores. This race is unique and a person's got to be prepared. It could be dangerous.
For most of the year, Matthew McKenna is an asphalt contractor. But every February during the Iron Dog race, he's the eyes in the sky for a rider he's known all his life.
Me and my brother Mark, we're identical twins, and we get along pretty good. Won it twice and gotten second, third. A lot of money at stake, so we're going to try our best.
First place rides away with $50,000 US.
Go T14!
I don't know if there's any twin telepathy, but I'm thinking what he's thinking because this is probably the 6th year we've flown for him. My brother's definitely the most competitive person I know. It isn't just snow machining. He doesn't want to get beat doing anything.
There are 28 teams in the race. Each consists of 2 riders who head out at timed intervals. Mark's teammate is 3-time champion Dusty Van Meter.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we have a finish.
Area traffic Cessna 90418 Charlie taking the active 25 and we'll be down the lake to the west.
As Mark and Dusty hit the trail, Matthew sets off to meet them at a checkpoint 160 kilometers northwest.
The first day is definitely the toughest. They're on the river, they're up in the mountains. Guys get tired and hit trees, bumps, whatever. They're going through the Alaska range and takes out a lot of sleds.
And day 1 is just the beginning. The entire course takes the racers over 3,200 kilometers of Alaska's toughest terrain, from the high peaks of the Alaska Range to the halfway point in Nome, then back to the finish in Fairbanks. The extreme terrain can break bones, and the freezing temperatures can cause frostbite that destroys the racers' fingers and toes. But for the support pilots, the biggest enemy is bad weather.
Last year we were in Galena and the storm came through. 3 of the planes were stuck there for, I think, 3 days. Snow can be too deep, get the plane buried. They can get 2-3 foot of snow out there. It's Alaska.
And that's why Matthews brought along co-pilot Dave Calkins.
We went to college together. Dave was my teacher. That's how much older he is.
I'm really glad that he's happy to have me along. I've been flying since I was mid to late teens and playing with model airplanes forever before that. And this is what I do for a living, so I know a lot about airplanes.
They are no rookies. They are total veterans looking for that win.
This year, one of the top teams is number 8, Tyson Johnson and Tyler Ackelstad.
All 7 years I've been running the Iron Dog, I've been leading it at one point, and we've gotten 2 second-place finishes. If you're doing Iron Dog, you got to be competitive. In my belief, anyways, I get up and I do it because I want to win.
Team number 8 support pilot is Jim Andy.
I know what my airplane's capable of. I know what I'm capable of, and it's not an ego thing. It's just if you're afraid, then you're in the wrong profession. You deal with a lot of different terrain. You name it, we're going to deal with it. We got turbulence. You're looking at high altitude, high terrain, winds.
2, 1, and team number 8.
Tyler and Tyson, they're fearsome racers. They're young, they're awesome riders.
Airplanes are a huge factor in the race. The support that the guys give you, you got a blown motor or something, and sometimes those guys are just pushing you, you know, and they're like, you know what, you can get this thing together, we got the parts.
We try to stay with our teams, you know, either a little bit behind them or a little bit in front of them, anticipating what they're going to need.
We're going through the complete unknown of Alaska. Anything can happen. Having them there in the most timely fashion is huge.
I see a sled on the road, booking. I don't know if you can see him, he's going behind the trees. Yeah. He's booking.
The racers can reach top speeds of up to 160 kilometers per hour, which makes it hard for support pilots to communicate with their team. At times, a quick glimpse from the air can be the only way the pilots know how their team's doing.
Look how fast he's going. He's almost doing what we are. 87, 88. Is it? They're doing 100. Oh, we got a couple of guys to pass. Look how rough it is. Holy smokes. I'm glad I'm up here.
But their ride's about to get rough too. A snow squall is on the horizon.
The weather is the greatest factor on this race, especially for the pilots, because we have to fly through that air, and if it's cloudy air, we can't.
And as they near the Puntilla checkpoint, the snow causes Matthew to lose his bearings.
So you don't think that that's Puntilla Lake right there? I don't think that's Puntilla. But if that is Puntilla Lake, you're buying pie. I will buy pie. Do you accept the bet? Yes, I accept the bet.
I have a bit more experience than Matthew, and I may look like a huge backseat driver.
Might as well get her slowed up.
So I'm not landing now.
You're not?
No, I'm in the circle around.
And you want me to help you turn? I don't know if the right turn's gonna happen for you.
All the little clues that I've gotten over the years, I can just tell him what to do and help him out.
Okay, we got the runway straight ahead.
Matthew's plane is on skis, and the only place to land is on a frozen lake.
Hey, we have no idea how rough this is.
I have no idea. I'm trying to fly the plane.
But if the snow's too deep, the plane can flip on impact and crush them.
Go real easy, easy, easy. Deep snow, it's not good. Okay, go around. Please, please go around. Please. Okay.
We're fine. Trip is pretty much in the middle of the lake. You got item.
I don't think I've ever been in an airplane that you've made that bad of a landing in. So, what kind of pie? This is where he cries.
Yeah, I gotta buy pie. How much of it he's gonna get to eat is whatever he can lick off his eyebrows after I smash it in his face.
Close behind Matthew and Dave is Team 8 pilot Jim Andy.
Yeah, we're waiting for the guys to come on through. The lodge is having bets on what time the first racers are coming through, so there's big money up in the lodge betting on that.
We come into a checkpoint. Hopefully, if everything's going well, our plane is already there. Our pilots usually got water and some energy drink for us. They got a little tool bag of parts, you know, some hand tools in case we have some little change of belt or something.
Oh, it's Team 8. Oh, yeah. Okay, Tyler and Tyson.
Out of 28 teams, Tyler and Tyson are in first place.
I'll take one over to him, James. Ready to go, Tyler? How you doing, man?
But there's still over 2,800 kilometers to go, and trouble on the horizon.
Deep in the heart of Africa, a troop of baboons inhabit an extraordinary world, where the first rule is sink or swim, and the second rule is flight or fight. It may be a swamp, but the law of the jungle is still supreme in Swamp Troop. on National Geographic HD. It was a paradise so rich in wildlife that they called it the place where Noah left his ark. But a war saw hundreds of thousands of animals killed. Now the world's most awarded wildlife filmmakers present a film about how the wild is coming back. Africa's Lost Eden on National Geographic HD. It's the biggest animal that has ever lived, only it's hardly ever seen. It's the loudest creature alive, but it's seldom ever heard. And its birth has been the biggest mystery of all, until now.
I've never seen this before.
The biggest thing on TV, Kingdom of the Blue Whale, on National Geographic HD. Soon, these creatures may be the stuff of fairy tales. Frogs survived the dinosaurs, asteroids, and ice ages. But today, they are disappearing fast. From Australia to South America, experts are asking, why? The clock is ticking for these amazing amphibians. Frogs, the thin green line, on National Geographic HD.
I have the greatest job in the world. My father and I are among the biggest dealers of historic weapons on the planet. $40,000. The only problem is my dad.
Alexander!
He loves to buy guns.
Successful!
But then he doesn't want to sell them. No. How am I supposed to run a business?
When your business is war, expect some friendly fire. A brand new series, Family Combat, every Monday at these times on National Geographic HD.
He's leading, he's a top team, and Tyler's sled is on fire.
In the airplane, there's a fire extinguisher, grab it.
The explosion threatens to spread to the extra fuel barrels. Pilot Jim Andy needs to act fast.
Everybody took off, so I just started to do the same thing. It's like, what the hell am I doing? I said, I'm not gonna get very far if the thing goes, you know. It's something that had to be done. You just gotta get it out, you know.
Dig him out! Take him out!
Tyler, pull the front off real quick and look, make sure there's no more flames.
And that's when you kind of go, oh, I guess we almost died.
Recoil burn. We'll get another one. Where's the other one? Is it all?
Oh, I think it's so good, dude.
Tyler's snowmobile is badly damaged.
The little deal that goes to the computer. It's in that little makeup looking box. Okay. They need a part.
They need their plastic tote. That's
All right.
in the plane.
All right, we'll get it. We're right there.
Team 8's only chance to get back in the race is if Jim Andy can find enough replacement parts to repair their ride.
To continue the race, you cannot just jump on another machine. You've got to finish with that particular machine.
Take the seat out. Okay. Okay, I got it. Hang on.
The whole time you're in like a pressure cooker. The team that was in the lead now is under the crunch to get their machine together. So you're hoping they can get the right parts and can get going.
While Tyler struggles with his damaged machine, Mark McKenna and his teammate Dusty Van Meter arrive. Tyler's bad luck puts Mark and Dusty in the lead. And soon after, a new team breaks into the top 10. Team number 3, Iron Dog veterans Doug Dixon and Wayne Wold.
Can I get you a drink? A Snicker bar?
Moral support's huge. You know, it's nice to get into a checkpoint, your pilot's there, and hey, keep going, you're doing good.
Their support pilot is veteran Keith Manternack.
I've been flying for about 15 years, and this is the second year I'm flying for Iron Dog. I enjoy doing it for my team, and I enjoy the challenge as a pilot out in those conditions. Okay, I'll see you guys in McGrath. Okay, sounds good, mate.
The racers are on their way from Pantilla to the McGrath checkpoint, over 320 kilometers by trail. But to get there, their support pilots will have to fly through treacherous Rainy Pass in the Alaska Range, home to the tallest mountain in North America. And with snow falling and visibility low, flying can be a life or death decision. Matthew and Dave decide to sit tight and see if the storm passes.
We're putting the engine cover on so that the next 20 minutes we sit here, the engine stays warm.
But Keith decides to go for it.
What they're saying is up on the other side of the pass, it's bad between Rainy Pass and McGrath. So we'll just have to get up there and see what it looks like and not get ourselves out of fuel range so we can't get back home. I'm a VFR pilot, so visual reference is all that we're allowed to use. When you're in the air, flying through bad weather, you're required to be able to see a mile all the way around you.
Keith is flying solo. In an emergency, there's no one else to take the controls.
Well, right now we're in Rainy Pass, a dangerous pass. Lots and lots of airplanes crashing in Rainy Pass just because of bad weather, snowstorms. It's just an easy pass to get messed up in. You know, in the winter, everything is white. If you get a little bit of fog, it's real hard to figure out where the horizon is at. And that's an easy way to run into a mountain.
As he approaches the top of the pass, the visibility drops to less than 300 meters.
The weather is it's not safe. The weather's bad. I'm using more instruments than vision, and that's too marginal for me.
If it gets any worse, Keith will be forced to turn around.
Because one bad decision can finish the whole game.
Meanwhile, back on the ground in Pantilla, it's bad news for teammate Tyler and Tyson.
Right now, I don't know what we're going to be able to do.
The parts Jim provided aren't enough to fix the snowmobile.
Doesn't look good. We have no motor, no way to get one.
Bummer, dude. What can we do for you?
Right now.
I think you're right.
This race has kind of been mine and Tyson's kryptonite or something. We just can't seem to get it.
For the third time in 5 years, they'll have to bow out before the finish.
Alrighty, man. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry for your luck.
64 kilometers north, Keith is battling a whiteout in a deadly pass.
I think the weather got worse. It's closing in behind us. Can't see the mountains at all at this point. Ground reference is getting worse all the time.
The low visibility forces him to turn back.
Some guys will fly in it, but it's a good way to have a short flying career. So we're just going to go back to Pantilla, put it down for the night.
If he can find the way.
Okay, I'm actually doing a hard 180 to the left also. I got to get my bearings a little bit here. We're looking for Pantilla anyway. It should be just here on our right. The weather is clearly closing in, and you're right over the top of it and you can't find it. It's pretty bad. Haven't quite located it yet. Okay, I got the lake now. 69 Kilo Mike is gonna line up for landing.
Keith makes it back to Pantilla, but now his racers Wayne and Doug are on their way to the next checkpoint without support.
Hopefully they can get there safe. Obviously, if our guys would break down and need parts, that would put the other teams at an advantage.
But the weather's also grounded the other support pilots, including Team 14's Matthew and Dave.
It's bad for them that we're not there. But the other part of this is it's bad for us if we crash in weather.
The outcome needs to be everybody's safe. The airplane's not bent.
But there's one plane in Puntilla Matthew knows might be able to get through the bad weather and help his brother on the ground. Jim Andy's Turbo Beaver.
The Beaver's definitely able to go through a little more rougher weather. It's got a high lift wing, it's very stable, it's rock solid, it's strong, 750 horsepower. If you get into some trouble, you get into some weather, you've got some horsepower to get out of it.
Since Jim just lost his own team, Matthew convinces him to help fly support. Jim's first mission is to get through the snow and locate Mark and Dusty on the other side of the pass.
We're just excited to continue on with the race with some really good racers again. You know, Dusty and Mark are top contenders.
Jim's a commercial pilot. He flies for a living. I don't. I'm an asphalt contractor, so it's definitely helpful to have him and McRae with us, because if the weather gets bad, those are two of the guys that can go.
With the Beaver at full throttle, Jim powers through the storm and makes it to the other side of Rainy Pass.
The team right in front of us here crossing the rain. Yep.
He spots Mark and Dusty, but they're on the wrong trail and have lost their first place position.
Oh, they're getting lost. Come those guys peeled off. It looks like they're going in the deep stuff right there. I think they thought it was the trail. It isn't, huh? Oh, they got too far down. They need somebody to point the way. I can tell you that right now, huh? I'm trying to point them. Hopefully they'll come over here. The wind.
The winds are just terrible. We can't really get down too low, so you're trying to give them a wing wag, let them know, go this way, follow us this way, to get on the right trail.
As you're going over, wag your wing. They need that signal.
It's pretty hard to miss the Beaver. It's a pretty big airplane. So you kind of get as low as you can so that you get their attention.
Oh, they're watching me.
Team 14 gets the signal, and the course correction puts Mark and Dusty back in the race.
It'll get better, boys.
Jim Andy's a competitor and definitely supports whoever he's flying for very well. He wasn't going to turn around and take it to the barn.
A day later, Mark and Dusty have covered over 1,300 kilometers of trail, but have slipped into second place, behind former Iron Dog champions Todd Palin and his partner Eric Quam. The next checkpoint is in Unalakleet, a remote village on the edge of Norton Sound. It's there pilots Matthew and Dave hope to reunite with Mark and Dusty.
Well, while I'm pouring this fuel in, Matthew's gonna walk out on where we're gonna have our takeoff run. There's enough wind to make it a pretty short takeoff, but we don't want to be surprised by a piece of driftwood or a little ice shelf.
I found a couple sticks and a rock over to the right. If we head right to the right of that last marker, we're golden. No problems. It's wider than this.
Right now we're playing a little catch-up. They pushed on to Unalakleet in the middle of the night, so we're kind of pushing it to get there and get them their parts.
This is the smoothest air we've had.
I'm actually flying. Look, no hands.
Okay, I see them.
Yeah, it looks like them. Well, we finally just located my brother, and we're going to circle and get on the ground and make sure that they don't need anything. Unalakleet traffic, Cessna 18 Charlie, still circling here east of town, low level. Looking to land here in the lagoon.
Hey, let's go ahead and get slowed down, get some flap in, and take a look at it. I see overflow there. Yeah, it's right there by this side of the taxiway.
Dave spots overflow on the frozen sound. Patches of ice where the freezing water rises above the surface.
Wherever we touch down, you figure out where it is you're gonna go. I'll tell you what I see about overflow. Like, that's obviously overflow.
If they land in overflow, the plane could freeze in the ice and get stuck for days.
Dude, you're scaring the hell out of me. I'm going straight.
We're not going right now, bro. What are you doing?
I'm gonna go down and do the prop.
You are not. No, you are not.
Okay, I'll just shut up.
You lucked out again.
I'd rather be lucky than good.
When you sit next to another guy in an airplane touching shoulders for a week, it can get tense.
There's times in the cockpit when he talks a little more than I think he should, but we get over stuff quick.
At the Unalakleet checkpoint, the racers take a much-needed rest.
They're in here second, about 9 minutes behind, I think. This is my brother's sled. No broken plastics or A-arms. Everything looks super clean. How's everything been going?
We made some time up while these guys are breaking trail.
Well, you guys made up an hour and 45 minutes yesterday. And you made 19 minutes up last night from Ruby to Galena.
19?
19. You were 14 minutes behind.
We're on, right?
Hey, Matthew, let's go.
That's the longest I've seen him since the night before the race. But I got to chat with him for a little bit. Everything's good.
Support pilot Keith Manternack also catches up with his team, Wayne Wold and Doug Dixon.
You guys are freaking kicking ass.
This is unbelievable, dude. Second, third, fourth, yeah. We're at about 6th place, bro.
Okay.
Keith's hoping they'll pull ahead and get to the halfway point in Nome first.
Nome is where it's at. Nome is where the gold is.
There's $10,000 worth of gold for the first team into Nome. Those front guys are going to be running hard against each other to try to get in there to get that $10,000 worth of gold, I'm sure.
But just as the racers take off, the pilots get word of a new storm on the horizon.
This storm front is continuing to progress east, now producing some snowfall into the interior, winter storm warnings, winter weather warnings, blizzard conditions, and warnings, all a part of this storm system.
There was a big storm coming in, and if we were to continue, the potential was there that we couldn't get out when the race left. We got to figure out if we're going to push on to Nome. The storm looks like it's not moving. It's still out there.
Team 14 decides that pilot Jim Andy will push ahead and support Mark and Dusty en route to Nome. Well, Matthew flies back to Galena away from the approaching storm.
Well, you guys see what you can do, and we're going to split. Talk to you in the air. Okay.
We got Cape Nome in sight. That's definitely coming down here, isn't it? Yep. It looks like it's going to close out not too long into the air. I'm getting in just in time.
Jim and his Turbo Beaver beat the storm into Nome. But pilot Keith Manternack and his Cessna 182 are still kilometers away.
The weather that they were talking about is definitely starting to come in.
Do you read Nome radio? Do you read Nome radio? Over. Cessna 969 Kilo Mike, I read you.
What in the hell is that? Oh, we got a horrible vibration, a noise.
I got a noise, I got a vibration. Something don't feel right.
First thing I could feel is in the yoke, the engine was shaking. I have to assume something catastrophic has happened to the motor. I have no idea what's going on.
That's the 969, I got a vibration. This thing is shaking real violently. We're gonna have to get on the ground as quick as we can. This is bad. That landing was a handful. Something really bad happened. That's why I either got a broken crankshaft or I got a spinner coming apart from the other. No, the spinner's cutting into the cowl. Holy shit. I mean, this thing took off and shook. My gosh, I didn't know if we were going to get back on the ground. See the way it's just rotated way out? That's going to rotate way in.
Well, it's already, your spinner's already hogged out.
If Keith can't get his plane fixed soon, Team 3 racers Wayne and Doug may have to ride the final 1,600 kilometers without support. Rival pilots Jim and David lend a hand.
I have never had a vibration like that in an airplane I've been flying.
The backing plate's got to be bent at least, ain't it?
Out of balance, that's what caused the, see the ice in there? Yeah, one of the perils of flying in the wintertime.
The prop on my airplane spins at 2,850 RPMs. So when there's snow and ice inside the spinner, that knocks the spinner off balance a lot like a wash machine does when all the clothes are on one side of a wash machine.
Keith's plane is fixed, but outside, the racers are facing a different kind of obstacle. It's after dark, the storm's arrived, and an icy wind is blowing up to 48 kilometers an hour.
We're standing in front of Bering Sea in Nome, Alaska, and got a big crowd here for the halfway finish of the Iron Dog.
The first team to reach Nome wins $10,000 US in gold, and most racers share the spoils with their pilots.
Yeah. We just got in number one. It's awesome. It's awesome. It was a good day, man. Right on. First half's done, and we're going to go to the next half. We're going to kick some ass on the next part.
In 6th place is Keith's team, Wayne and Doug.
They're in a good position, and they feel good. The snow machines are in good shape. We just got to get them over to the city garage and check them out and see what we need to do with them before we take back off.
The storm is in full force and it doesn't seem to be settling down. Definite life-threatening conditions.
The next day, the weather takes a turn for the worse, putting the entire race in jeopardy.
It is a complete whiteout. The snow is blowing real hard. You can hardly see where you're going out there.
All right, I just got done talking to the National Weather Service. They told us that there's no guarantees that the weather's going to change. They're talking about a north wind coming in.
The deal is, if we do get out there and some people get hurt or get stuck, I mean, how are you going to find them? I mean, you can't see 10 feet in front of you out there.
You guys ready? We need to get you out there. We are going to do it in a yellow flag situation. We're going to group you together. You guys are going to have to be cautious, work together. This is yellow flag conditions.
It's too dangerous to race, so the teams must ride in a protective formation to the Unalakleet checkpoint over 320 kilometers away by trail.
It is the toughest race in the world, but there's also a point where it could also be the stupidest race in the world, because it's not worth a life. The conditions are too tough for anybody, man or machine.
And that night, the poor conditions start to take their toll.
It doesn't look like Doug and Wayne are moving at all.
the GPS shows that Keith's team is stuck on a lake in a dangerous overflow that can sink a snowmobile in seconds. It's too dark to fly, so Keith hits the road to find Wayne and Doug.
We're gonna go out here to the end of the road.
If their machine sinks, the racers could drown in the freezing waters. Keith discovers Doug Dixon's snowmobile stuck in almost a meter of icy water.
I know, I'm freezing. Go, 1, 2, 3.
We got 4 guys out there now trying to get that snow machine out of the water. Hopefully we'll get the thing rowed back into town and get it dried out.
Cold out. 1, 2, 3. Okay, hold on. Ready? Get the out of here.
They rescue the snowmobile, but Doug's shoulder is too injured to continue. Team 3 is out of the race.
Doug's feeling bad, he's in pain, you know, and he feels like he's left everybody down.
When the machine's stuck in the water like that, it gets super heavy, and 2 guys just can't lift it up. Was there 30 teams started this year, and I bet you that not 12 finish. So that's a major accomplishment. I hate leaving. It's unfinished business.
It's the end of the road for Keith.
Obviously, I was very excited about the race up to this point. My team was doing real well. Unfortunately, it's all come to an end now. I think it's ended up as best it could end up. They're safe. It could have turned out a lot worse.
It's day 6. The yellow flag has been lifted, and the remaining racers are on their way to a checkpoint in Galena. They've traveled over 2,000 kilometers, but there's still almost 1,000 to go to Fairbanks. High above, support pilot Jim Andy sees that Mark and Dusty are still in the lead.
Well, hopefully these guys could gain a little time because that trail looked pretty fast. They were hauling pretty good there. Yeah, they're still going pretty good, wasn't there? They've been anxious to get racing. Now we're actually racing again.
They're riding really smart. They're riding really good. Their machines are holding up well.
As night falls, Jim pulls into Galena to meet up with fellow Team 14 support pilots, Matthew and Dave.
Hey, what's happening?
What's happening? What's going on, man?
Good seeing you guys.
Good James.
How was Nome?
We barely made it out, but here we are.
We barely made it hanging out here.
So how far out are they supposed to be?
I think like 10 minutes, 5 minutes, a minute. Hopefully they don't need anything. They go like this.
Moments later, the first racers arrive.
The first team in was not our team, and the second team in was not our team, and the third team in was not our team.
We're sitting there thinking my brother should have been here an hour ago, and we don't know what to think. We don't know where he's at. Pretty soon there's 10, 11 teams there. Finally, one of the racers stopped.
It looked like Dusty went and tried to go up this hill, kind of just got halfway up and didn't make it, and went right into some overflow. He's down in there, and the bank is pretty steep. It just sucks.
One of their sleds is definitely planted in quite a bit of water. Looks like they're almost in last place. We'll just keep looking at the computer and watching their GPS. Hopefully get their sled running again. Pretty disappointing, as good as they've been doing the whole race. Mainly just hoping that they're both okay and whoever got wet, whether it's Dusty or Mark, that neither of them get frostbite.
Some more waiting.
What?
Here they are. Here they are. James, back up.
Finally, Team 14 arrives at the checkpoint.
Mark, do you want goggles?
The ice broke open, it was water, and the machine went down underwater. We stood on the riverbank forever trying and tugging and pulling and trying to tie it to another machine and pull it back out.
Keep it up, you guys are kicking ass, man. we got them what they needed, got them warm, got them, you know, a little bit of rest and a little food.
Despite losing the lead in over an hour of racing time, Mark and Dusty decide to keep going.
There were still 600 miles left of the race. Anyone else can have those kind of problems, so there's always a chance.
Mark and Dusty, who've been leading for much of this race and have been the rabbits for much of this race, are now chasing rabbits. And there's some fast rabbits to chase, so they've got a full plate.
I think we'll probably get to see Dusty and Mark for about an hour in Canada. They're just bummed out, you know, but I bet these boys are going to be glad to get to Fairbanks, huh?
These boys will be glad to get to Fairbanks.
But just as things are looking up, bad news hits the radio.
Yeah. I called up ahead and they said 14 was riding doubles. Okay.
Oh, okay. Wonderful.
Team 14's riding double. That means to me that Dusty Sled probably gave up from being in the water, yeah?
Yeah.
So, riding two guys on one sled is not a way to finish legally. So they may not even get a finish out of this race.
Could have just come to a screeching halt for our team. Definitely a bummer. That them?
I don't know, it's a single machine that looks like it's got a big bear on the back of it.
Yeah, it looks like them.
I can confirm that is a double rider. Not what you ever want to see.
We got to get up here and figure out what they're going to do with their getting their snow machine off the river, and so they can get it fixed or something.
We tried for about 20 minutes to start, it wouldn't start, so we left it for a while and then it fired up.
On the way to Tanana from Ruby, which is one of the longest stretches of the race, Dusty Sled that had been in the water the night before, apparently it had put the sled in limp mode, and they ran out of gas.
Dude, I need to know how you're feeling about this. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably at a 2.
If at any point we thought they were done, and told them, I said, hey, go back and get the sled. You got to go get it anyway. You can't leave it out there. Just like Will Ferrell said, it's time to pull it together, guys. Excuse me, first place team coming through. Knowing them guys are there for us to help, it definitely lifts you up and kind of helps you get out of the dumps. Kind of feel like we owe it to them to pick it up no matter how bad it gets and try to get the job done. So after about a half hour, 45 minutes of sitting on the clock, drinking hot cocoa and warming up, they loaded up some gas and rode back out double.
30 minutes later, Mark and Dusty are back in the race with both snowmobiles.
All right, guys, let's get to the airplanes. They're definitely at the bottom of the barrel right now, but at least their spirits are up. They would have probably wanted to quit if we weren't here following them and supporting them, so they'll keep going.
When they lost 2 hours, we figured that's it, they're done. I mean, how are you going to make up 2 hours?
But 160 kilometers outside of Fairbanks, Team 14 starts to catch some luck.
But that's Mark and Dusty. No way. I swear. Crazy. How did they catch us up? They were behind us. Wow. Hey, maybe Mark can catch that guy. Maybe Dusty can catch him. Wow, that's amazing.
They passed 4 teams within the first half an hour, and we're like, man, they're not doing too bad now, and they just kept passing teams, and pretty soon we're like, man, these guys are gonna, you know, hopefully get in the top 10 for sure now, and maybe even the top 5.
Look at Mark, man, he is just smoking. At this point, it looks like we can make it to Fairbanks now. Yeah. What a frickin' seesaw. Yeah, no doubt. Here we are, back in the race again. Never know what's gonna happen in this race.
Leaving his brother and Dusty behind, Matthew races to Fairbanks to meet them at the finish line.
Okay, my approach in here is not going to get me a medal.
Dude, you're fine.
I know, I just like to give myself a hard time because no one else does.
Hey, it's all you. Oh, that was a nice kissy landing.
David Nathaniel Calkins, that was an excellent trip. I had a good time.
This year's race has been a true race of attrition. Right now, I have 12 teams still on course, so we'll see how many get in the rest of the way. I'm hoping all 12 can make it in.
First across the line is Team 10, Chris Olds and Tyler Huntington. In second place is Team 11, Todd Palin and Eric Kwong.
Unofficially our second place finishers.
A half an hour later in sixth place, Mark and Dusty finally crossed the finish line.
Even though my brother didn't win, they ended up coming back from a pretty couple good deficits and passed a whole bunch of people the last 300 miles. They didn't quit.
We fought weather, we fought mechanical issues, fought fire, and we all finished together as a team. And that's, you can't put a price on that. And it's a great honor to be part of that.
Never say never. All of us pilots tell each other, oh, we're not doing this crap next year. But the reality is, that's all we get ready for the next year, and we're already getting ready for it.
I want to make a toast to all the friends and family and our pilots for helping us make this trip. Everybody came home safe. We didn't win, but we'll be back next year to try it again.